everyone promises you all these things, like you're gonna be the next big star and this and that and money.
What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. She is the UFC's number 8 ranked women's strawweight contender, fighting Angela Hill in the main event of UFC Vegas 73 on Saturday. She chokes out fools harder than I choked that one time Patty Plimpett got mad at me, but it happens. Mackenzie Dern, how's it going?
Good. I'm excited. Fight week. So kind of main event, last minute a little bit, but
Yeah,
happy about that. Excited.
yes.
Can't deny those opportunities.
Hey, always nice to add another poster to the collection, right, with your
Right?
face on it. You know what? I mean, that's exactly where I wanted to start, so I'm glad you read my mind. We've seen this happen a few times recently. Ricky Simone versus Song Yadong. That was supposed to be a 3-round fight. Gets pushed back a week to fill in for a main event. We're seeing it happen again, not too far along. You were supposed to fight Angela Hill on the main card of UFC Charlotte. Irene Aldana gets pulled for the UFC 289 main event in my hometown of Vancouver. So we got you and Hill pushed back a week to this 5-round spot. Can you walk me through some of the complications that occur when, maybe you're beginning the weight cut or you're tapering off training and suddenly you kind of have to add a 7 days extended process to this whole thing? Like, what are some of the things that kind of threw off schedule for you?
I mean, I think, yeah, it's mostly like the organization, but really just like the mental fatigue you are after like having a whole camp, and you kind of you schedule your whole camp and train so that way you reach your like best moment the day of the fight. So kind of when you're getting there and also like, oh shoot, it's pushed back. I mean, 1 week isn't that big of a push compared to like, I don't know, a month or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I was just kind of like, oh, you're so ready for it to be over with. You're so ready to just like go there and punch someone and take them down and choke them, and you know what I mean, like go out there and get the win and put everything, all that energy that you were training for into the fight, but it was good. At the same time, you have like 1 more week that you can train more and kind of just prepare yourself. And the fact that it was 3 rounds to 5 rounds, it makes, I mean, we were training already for 5 rounds, but like we always train for that many. But just kind of a little bit strategically wise, I think the fight's a little bit better for me with 5 rounds with Angela Hill, who has a lot of experience with decisions and things like that. She's kind of
Totally.
good. She's a hard opponent, so yeah, just kind of more mentally preparation for that. And just, wanting to be over. It was weird me watching the fight actually on Charlotte in North Carolina. And I'm like, man, I was supposed to be fighting like right now at this moment,
Mm.
and I'm here at my sofa, on my sofa, but it's cool, I'm excited.
Well, it's funny because when I asked Song and Simon this question, or Simone this question, they both said it was the weight cut. That's why I kind of mentioned that in the preface. When I talked to you and Hill about it, you both actually talked more about the mental toll that it takes when you're trying to get into the zone. So it's interesting how that stuff mirrors each other. Um, when you look at the fight with Angela Hill, I think people know without a doubt where Mackenzie Dern beats just about every other women's strawweight on the planet. That is in the jiu-jitsu realm. When you look at Angela Hill, where do you think she sort of presents the biggest challenge to you?
I think the biggest challenge is more like her being tough, so it's not going to be like an easy sub or something like that, to finish her. And then also too, just kind of how she can stay on the outside in her movement, it's a little bit, I think it could be hard to catch her. And with this, to touch her, like she kind of can stay ahead on points and keep touching me, and kind of beating me on points, and just kind of that experience of like knowing how to fight. But of course, it's not like I've seen her fights when she does get in her groove and she starts getting her rhythm, she starts letting go, and stuff like that. But she definitely has that experience of, knowing how to win the rounds and things like that, which is something that I lacked, Um, I think I like that. So now I trained that. I focused on that. I changed that in my mind, to have that vision, as a whole of the fight, not finish each round and be like, did I win that round, and not have no idea who won, who lost, things like that. And just know that, okay, to win the fight, I need to win the rounds. And to win the rounds, it's not necessarily just submitting. You can win the round by ground and pound. You can win by the round by putting them on the cage. You can win the round by touching them too. You know what I mean? So having that understanding, and I'm like, I need to submit every single round. It's a little bit more comforting now, and knowing that like, okay, I have that next step in the maturity as a fighter.
Speaking of the vision, I know fighters often don't like to look past their opponent, but let's say in a perfect world, we get Angela Hill out of here. What do you sort of see as a reasonable next fight? And do you have a gauge on maybe how far we are from the title shot?
I mean, I think if perfect world, like you said, we're just thinking about like Angel Hill right now, but I mean, I would like to fight like a former champion. I was like, they had talked about Carly Esparza before. They had talked about Jessica Andrade. They had talked about Rose. I think me and Rose would be a great like next fight. I know Carla is pregnant. I found out. I just saw that like recently. Amanda Lemos and Zhang Weili are fighting in August.
Yep,
So
from
I,
Dana White.
I mean, ideally, perfect world, I would love to be able to fight Rose after that.
I
It'd
like
be
it.
great.
It's a headline right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Um, we saw the UFC, to your point, UFC President Dana White yesterday announces Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos. A lot of people were thinking that Xioanan might kind of skip ahead after that knockout of Jessica Andrade. I think the UFC matchmakers a lot of times pay attention to who's been fighting who. Is there a level of enthusiasm on your part seeing Xioanan get such a big, quick, decisive win, knowing that when you look at the record, you guys went toe to toe for 5 rounds? Does it maybe help sort of push you a little further ahead when it comes to what matchmakers might decide on next?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I hope they see that. I know that like Vienna, who I beat, went to I think number 6 or something, and
Hmm.
Vienna had
Yeah,
beat Marina, who beat me. You know what I mean? So it's really just like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, But I mean,
yeah,
I
it's
hope
all
so.
over the place.
I hope that comes into play. Or at least it decides who they would give to me next. But definitely, I think it kind of like shows, that I'm supposed to be in the mix. So definitely someone ahead in the ranking. Angela, I think she's 13 or 14 or 12, I don't know, around there. So it's a good fight. I mean, I'm coming off a loss, so I wasn't gonna be like choosing too many, right now, but definitely
Hmm.
with a good win, I think someone ahead of me, and that could really set me up for a title run would be ideal.
Very quickly, I'm sure you've been asked a lot in light of the recent news. Could I just get your quick prediction on how Zhang versus Lemos might play out?
My quick prediction on what? Sorry.
The strawweight title fight.
Man, that's gonna be a good fight. I think Amanda Lemos. I think Amanda Lemos is gonna get the. She hits hard. She's. I think she even fought at like 135 back in her like in the past. So she definitely has like weight on her hands. I think she's made the cut to strawweight really good. And yeah, I mean, she got submitted by Jessica. It was a crazy fight, but I think she's gonna come in strong with against Zhang Weili.
It's so, like, to your point, it's so hard to gauge right now who aside from maybe like Rose and Wei Li, who are at the very top of it, but even Rose is coming off the Carlo loss. It's everyone's just beating everyone, and it's so hard to get your thumb on the pulse of like who's really standing out right now. It's a tough division to be a part of.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm even thinking like probably this, and we're probably gonna end up. There's gonna end up being like number twos, like fight like sequences,
Mm.
especially in the strawweight division, just because we're all kind of there. We've all kind of fought each other for the most part. So I definitely can see like there's gonna probably end up being some sequels to some of the girls' fights, you know what I mean, and things like that. So it's exciting.
Just a couple things before we wrap up on some lighter stuff, get your mind off of the fight at hand a little bit. I was looking back at the last interview that we did, and I asked you, where does Mackenzie Dern need to improve on the most to really become like this supreme threat? Wrestling or striking? You told me you're striking at the time, and when I sort of look online, I see a lot of people say, man, if Mackenzie's takedowns can get better and better, she's just going to wash over people, Habib style. So I want to reframe that question. Coming off the Yan Xiaonan fight, I saw your stats actually went up a bit. Better takedown accuracy, more takedowns on average, but it's still pretty low. Do you still believe that the striking is the most imperative thing to your long-term success, or was there a more renewed focus on the wrestling? Because we did see it implemented more in the on-fight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think my striking has got to where it's good enough, to be there. So, I mean, I'm not stopping my striking, but I think my striking is where it needs to be, to get me to the belt, at least to be able to hang in with the girls, to help me get to the ground. And I mean, what I like going on to that, what I did work so much on this was just like winning the round. So like the wrestling, I think I got so much like I need to take down, I need to take down that like I'd get Yarn,
Mm,
for example, on the cage, and I'm just like using all my strength to try and do these takedowns and things like
force
that
it.
instead of like
Mm-hmm.
grinding her on the cage. You can win the round just by keeping them on the cage, which 99% of my fights, I at least get them all to the cage. If I jump guard, if I'm, doing whatever, then that's a different story. But to the cage, especially like Apex, I'm getting the girls to the cage, with my striking, and all these things. So, I think it's just like that pressure, like, oh, then I need to take down when like you don't need to take them down,
Mm.
you can knee like elbows, knee,
Yes, totally. As long as
putting
you're
that
racking up
pressure,
points.
making them tired on the cage, like the cage is a part of the game too. And that's kind of like a whole new part of the game that I didn't realize, like for me, the cage was just like kind of, I'm my last chance. Okay, I'm getting to the cage. And when I get there, I'm like going down to a single and they're already like pushing my head. And I'm like, my head's down on the cage. I'm like,
Thank you for moving the camera as you
oh,
do all
yeah,
this. It's
sorry.
really painting the picture for me.
Yeah, sorry. So it's like, now
No,
I
I love it.
understand like the cage is like the mats for me. You know what I mean? So I need to treat it like just instead of being down on the ground up, so
You know, you talk a lot about your maturity fight to fight, but we're like 10 fights into your octagon career. Very solid 7-3 split. I imagine a little bit of the UFC debut was expedited based on being one of the most successful jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world, as well as it's changed a lot, it's growing, but compared to the men's side of things, they have women's fighting hasn't been around as long. Naturally, there aren't as many regional opponents to fight. Do you feel like it's been a little bit of sink or swim and you've had to do a lot of the learning on the job in a very high pressure environment?
um I mean, I don't think so, I mean, I think I'm prepared for that. I was prepared for that, but I do think that I was kind of like a person, an athlete that because of my hype and stuff like that, sometimes, maybe I was kind of getting passed around from a lot of people wanting to help me, give me information, and a lot of people wanting to, teach me and all these things. And, everyone wanted me to win their way. You know what I mean? Like one, I kind of like I'm speaking like as an athlete, like just what I feel,
Yeah,
from
totally.
as a what I've kind of felt, and just kind of being like, you know, not like people kind of maybe taking me a little bit away from the ground game, and not. I mean, I'm always doing that, but no one really to get me and say like, hey, you just need to do this, this, and this. You know what I mean? And like always like, okay, I need to do so many different things, and I'm just trying to get, so I kind of like a little bit of everyone wanting to help me. I think because I was someone with hype, there's always like coaches and always people that are like, oh no, I'll help you. I can help you this and I can help that. And you're just kind of like, you don't really know the game. You don't know who are all the top people. You don't know who are the best coaches. You don't know what's the best camp. I went from like the lab, then I went to Black House. I trained in Brazil. Ruka, it's just like so many different things. And also and even sorry, I'm like speaking Portuguese, but I'm speaking English. But and
Someone will understand.
and that's like even outside of other people, obviously like inviting you to go here and there and things like that. So it's just I think a little bit of I don't think like really the pressure from me and like having to learn. I think that if I would have gotten like the right mindset sooner, I think I could have even learned sooner, especially because, the new generation of girls, like they're getting tough and tough and tougher. I think I went in the UFC at a really good moment. It was kind of like the old school girls were kind of almost leaving and we were getting in this new generation. Now we're getting another generation, so it's really growing a lot. So now it's kind of like you have to get better. Otherwise you're gonna fall behind. You know what I mean? But I think the time I did go in, I went in at a good time. I'm always up for the hype and things like that. But I think it's just hard when you don't know, I was like, you're
Mm,
naive, you're getting into this, and
yeah.
you're a
Where
nice
to
person.
source the best information from. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the nice person. Everyone's offering you good, management company. There's just so much
Oh
behind.
God, I can't imagine. Yeah.
There's so much behind. Everyone promises you all these things, like you're gonna be the next big star and this and that and money and you know what I mean? It's so easy for you to get, just kind of like, okay, well, what's the big picture? Like, okay, I just need to win each
Mhm.
round. Okay, I just need to like make them give me the submission instead of forcing it, like that's okay, I got it. I can do that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Love it. Well, listen, Mackenzie, I'm glad we're feeling centered with some clarity. Hey, it's been a really, really strong UFC run so far, so I'm excited to see what's to come. I
Thank
know we're
you.
short on time, so I'd like to just finish on a little bit of rapid fire, ask you a few things off the beaten path, okay?
Okay.
All right, first, for Mackenzie, what's the best remedy for a bad day? Food, activity, movies, anything that'll like immediately cheer you up. I'm sure your daughter's going to be involved.
Yeah, Moa for sure. And then like food, probably like us getting some food together, like sushi. She loves sushi. So if we can go get like a sushi together, then you like forget about everything. You're like, oh, my stomach's full. We're happy. We're both happy, no stress. Everything's good.
I love it. Very quickly, give me, if you can, you can just name them off, the top five best submission fighters in MMA.
Damian Maia, Durinho, Jacaré, Charles de Bronx, and then me. Am I allowed to be on it or no?
Yeah, of course you are. I was about to get
Okay.
mad at you, Mackenzie. I'm like,
Okay.
come on. In your opinion, I'm interested in your take as a jiu-jitsu practitioner. What do you think is the best base for MMA? If someone can just start with one martial arts before moving into MMA, what do you think's the strongest one?
Jiu-jitsu.
Why?
Because I think that half of the fights go to the ground, so I think at least to have enough defense, even if it's a defensive jiu-jitsu, but to get
Mhm.
back up, to be able to feel comfortable on the ground is the most important, in my opinion.
Okay. I don't know why this is my favorite. This will be my last one. Let's say come fight night, co-main event, someone bites someone, people start turning into zombies left, right, and center. Name me 2 to 3 fighters that you are grabbing as your sort of crew to survive the zombie apocalypse. Who are you putting your faith in?
How many people can I bring with me? Like my crew?
3.
Three?
Yeah.
Um, from UFC?
Sure.
Because I mean, otherwise I would choose my dad for sure. He's a coach, so that counts. But I would say like Amanda Nunes. Um, I would say um probably Khabib and man, maybe Gaethje.
Yeah, hey. Tough,
I need
tough
people
mofo.
down. They need to be down
Yes.
to do like
Love it.
that's
All right, Mackenzie, I know I got to get you out of here. I want to leave you with the last words. So very quickly for me, thanks for watching the video, guys. Please subscribe, tap the bell, leave us a comment, give us your official prediction on the fight. Mackenzie ahead of your main event against Angela Hill at UFC Vegas 73. If there's anything you want to let your fans know, the floor is yours.
No, just thank you so much for the time for the interview and thanks for all the fans. Don't miss the fights. It's gonna be great. And yeah, let's do it.